History of Humanity, Part 2. My first response. I make this message because this was a comment that I was not permitted to upload. A comment particularly of my video of the history of human migrations and genetics. I was answering an erroneous comment of somebody who asked, does Harvard confirm humanity comes from 12 tribes? Now, it's not wrong to make a question. The error here is that it seems this person didn't really see my video and then decided to ask that as if my story said that. This is the big error because there's nothing in my video that points to anything near of what which he asked. As of he's presuming I claimed what he asked. It's not an error to ask, but this is clear confusion. The problem is simple. Some people watch the video wrong and then claim I'm claiming something I'm actually not even claiming myself. So there's the people that don't watch the video entirely or don't watch it right or just don't understand the events taking place. This then results in somebody confused and maybe even seemingly loud or angry when it's just a comment. The truth is some people come to argue against something, not actually knowing the information they bring actually adds to my information and claims. They believe in what I'm saying but don't see it. At least not immediately, no. So there are some that come and argue and are actually in my side and don't know it or aren't there yet to understand, like we will see further. The truth is, if you believe in sciences, my story is confirmed by the sciences that you believe in. And if you believe in scriptures, the scriptures also confirm that too. I don't really understand how can people deny so much actual evidence that we can use to prove a claim. There's a common theme. The ones who have questioned the data never even bring anything concrete or proof. Mostly it's things such as, how can you compare me with those peoples? But that's not an argument. So this video was a comment I was going to send everybody of this level of approach. However, let's make it a video. I'll send people to this video instead. Hey, and you can send it to these type of people too. This comment I was going to lay is to brush upon some of the actual reasons people can't disprove this, which is already confirmed. I'll explain this part quickly, so be sure to understand every detail. However, warning, if you cannot analyze evidence, then I don't think this video is for you anyway. I respond that Harvard scientist Dr. Nathaniel Jensen is claiming is RQ of macro haplogroup P, whom are of Joktan, and then brushes that one may carry strong genetic or genomic component of a Eurasian Proto-Scythian named Japhet. We'll find out who exactly soon. Okay. How are geneticists able to do this and sort of forensically trace DNA to certain peoples of history? They can grasp the genetic mutations from son to father and reverse it with supercomputers and algorithmic tools. Doing this, they can gather much human migrational data and much information that if it matches with the historical, then observations mean that is true. So I am not putting out some thesis. This is genetic confirmed data. And second of all, I never said Israel was natives in this particular video, nor natives, nor humanity. Although they are included as everybody else doing their own thing, they're just one people and don't revolve around this video. The DNA of ancient Israelites is something nobody in any comment section can totally prove, but that being said, even so, I still don't even know what he meant. Israelites? Later on, we understood from comments that he just didn't know which group is which, and timelines differences, and other nuance that matter. On top of this video just being historical and archaeological, genetical, I do carry some extra strong evidence for everything else we would like to speak of. And this is why it was so easy for me to make this video, which I made from my own study. This is my own research that just happens to account with Harvard research, but particularly of and from Dr. Nathaniel Jansen. There are some nuance about Y chromosomes, haplogroup R. Indeed. Apparently, and this is just me abroading onto the topic, many historians and geneticists are linking that the P macrogroup connects with Abraham, the understanding or explanation. Two main types of people you can possibly associate the haplotypes are two, whom only should be two types of peoples, and they are both West Eurasian types that may be linked with Scythians in any shape or form patrilineally and evidently. Number one is a Eurasian father of Germans. This refers that the ancestry of these people can find an origin with these patriarchs, presuming the other, as of what the sciences is mainly pointing that is both, as the doctor says Ashkenaz. Well, by this he means nuclear DNA, but not common of genetic groups, as genetic groups of the original might stem from I to J and maybe G, as of that of Dr. Nathaniel Jansen himself, I say, and can see, these people are mixed. That's for a different video. But the other via historians and geneticists are concluding is one pointing to that Abraham guy, who is prophesied to be the father of many nations. So first we see it in a paper. Then later on in genetics, we find out everybody is mainly our haplotypes and clades in many nations. I'm not saying this claim. I'm only pointing to the obvious patterns and all the evidences. The claim would speak for itself, however. That is how you partially reach a scientific yet historical conclusion, which means that my research is pointing to what the sciences is spilling 100% and match. If they don't even match, why bother in the first place? About Israel. And all those comments asking allow me to just clear the air onto that. Even though this video has nothing to do with that, in Puerto Rico, my island of Boriquén, scientists of archaeological department are hoarding Canaanite type writing discovery in my island of Puerto Rico and have not yet officially disclosed this to the public. And they said it's Canaanite like. But I just spent 3 months studying ancient Assyrian, Akkadian, West Eastern, Empirical, Armenian, Modern Hebrew, Paleo Semite language, which is a refreshment since I already had compared Mesopotamic languages with indigenous languages, and this even stems out to other family languages as of the real work I'm putting in. Even Japanese language and a number of East Asian languages, even to their different eras. So, I actually discovered Taino language has some hints of Assyrian, sure, which is Akkadian. It does. I was so bamboozled, but it's what it is. However, upon my analysis, there was a hilariously an ancient Paleo language that was so strikingly similar and familiar to Taino, and even Ayeri tongues I had to learn Taino Borique, and it happens to be extremely similar, if not almost identical, with obvious time drift, to Paleo Semite language. For instance, for us, a leader is the cacique. Teaching we saved from the Spanish conquerors who said the word wrong, when in fact the Paleo Semite has the same word, for example, which is written as casaquilla, or as casaquia, or as casaquia, to something similar, but different than just cacique. This is how actual Taino language works. Take a look. We already have that formology in the original Taino forms. View, boquilla, you. We also have tuquilla and guaquilla, us, which will then be guaquilla in the actual root forms. This is exactly and properly respective to Turkic, Tungusic, Slavic, Iranic languages like Gok Turks, among other related to Siberians, North Asiatic, Central, and Altaic. How instead of Turkiya, that we would say it's Turkiya or Turkiye, Serbia, etc. That seems to be a form that stuck from Scythian cultures, but also seen in Semite language of the past and maybe even to the present. Yet no one is looking at the data to confirm it, unless somebody like me analyze hundreds of languages and comparing it with thousands upon thousands of samples of DNA. Do you know how to reach real conclusions that are able to truly impact a historical outlook? Anyways, I can speak all day on evidence regarding Israelites, which was never even related to this historical story in the first place. But let me get something also important out of the chest so people can understand. Edom and Esau, Edomites, are described such as DNA as of scripture. They even had a tribe in Italy. Greeks say it and they talk about it. Whatever you think about them, they are not Israelite or 12 tribes. No, no, but are of Hebrew descent. Yes, indeed. How? This is how Hebrew DNA or status works, in fact. You have to read it. The first one is maybe the most or least important wild card, and that's that. Hebrew, Ibar, even words seen in Akkadian and all those Assyrianic languages of Mesopotamia and Paleo-Semite, means those who crossed. This demonym may be given to Semites of the Chaldeans, ancient ones, branch, who crossed. Then this designation is given to the same people in other events, the ones crossing, the nomads, the crossing Semites, the crossing Hebrews. Well, guess what? It's a Native American language as well. Hibar, one Taino word coming from Taino, demonym, and seen in another Tupi tribe by the Amazonia called Hibaro, means those who crossed, among the definitions that we already know. And we may strip this native word straight to Ibar, them both thus being the same. Who crossed? Natives crossed. But that's just an explanation that runs so deep and obvious, I need not to explain. And how this would also correlate to Ibers, because Edom were redheads, but were still Hebrew. These also crossed too everywhere, but we have evidence from classical Greece. That's why, as well, among other obvious factors. And second, you could be anybody. But if you're born of Heber, then that makes you a Hebrew, at least as a demonym. So you gotta know the difference, or else you're just coming here arguing without knowing the fine details that really matter. Are the Ophir, Austronesian, Papuan type natives first arrival to Americas that I depicted here Israelites? Absolutely not. Read or listen carefully. They are mixed peoples. With what exactly? Semites, which groups can range from Chaldeans to Assyrians. Well, that's your base for Joktan. But they were also assaulted demographically by the current monarch. So you, in fact, have the admixtures of Cushite people, who are the darkest skinned Africans that dominated Mesopotamia and Babylon of recorded history in many accounts. Thus, these first natives are mixed of Semites, Africans, and maybe just some European DNA at best. So it makes total sense they look exactly like the Olmec. These are Hebrews because there are only two lineages that produces ethnic Hebrews apart from the name designation of those who crossed. From this one man called Heber, his two sons, one is Peleg, the ancestors of those who would later become Israel. Peleg and Edomites, the red guy, which not an Israelite, and the other brother of Peleg who fathers Abrahamics is Joktan. So a brother of all these, who are not these, are partially Hebrew because ancestry of Heber and Joktan, and are partially Cushite because of the clear actions of what the Assyrian monarchy did. If somebody can't understand the differences of what is what, then boy, please send the person to this video. And you cannot understand the scientific differences, then buddy, this is too easy and simple to be misinterpreted. The data I've presented after 15 years of the best data accumulated into the best version I can possibly offer, then that person needs to step off for a bit and do some research and then come back later in the future. I got a person in the other side of the comment saying, yeah, let's leave it at what we can see, that God placed different races in different continents. Yeah, no kidding, buddy. Way to say 30 years worth of research in less than 30 words, maybe. Well, duh. Different races are being created here. So therefore, at the end, I could have just made us claim exactly what he is claiming. Isn't that funny? Nobody sees that though. He could dismiss my real solid narration, but I could have ended my video by saying that exact same argument. I can just say at the end, easily, oh, and thus God placed different races in different continents. That's incredibly shallow to me. So please stop trying to argue something you're not disproving. It's insane. I can say, and God made that. But somebody has always the audacity to come and argue at my videos totally in confusion and arguing for such important things. So please spare me of that kinds of stuff. I will send everybody to this comment or video. Even to this day, there is nobody able to disprove any of my research. There is nobody in this planet, no scientist that is able to disprove my studies. There just isn't. Please don't come arguing to me about Israel or Hebrews unless you actually know the difference between these groups. I sincerely believe nobody actually knows the differences. So stop and don't come to me with just genetics or genomics or just by reading. You don't even begin to realize how many sciences I have adopted just to be certain of a claim. This is not just finding a bone and a clue. The evidence I have gathered at overwhelming rates can also count with the highest degrees of sciences all into one. You kidding? There's not a PhD alive or dead that can refute my science or the eventualities of this massive investigation that is totally confirmed by genetic sciences. Another addition, historians and scientists are trying to confirm the origin of R1b. From genomics, it's obvious they are brothers. From science, of course. I'm not saying R is Abraham, but if you can only also dig from what is observable, a historic scientist may also relay that Jacob and Esau were actually twin brothers. Why are they Eurasian in appearance? They are next to Canaanites. Do some reading and real eyeball busting research and matching, because Canaanites are the East Asians, cats out of the bag. Khan, Genghis Khan, we say Canaanites, they are Khans. Khans, Canes, Hans, Hun, Hana. It's so obvious it's face melting and even to the point of eye rolling. Backward. Thanks for watching this video. Send it to people who need to understand more about historical background versus archaeological genetics. Like, share, like, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video.